Morning. My name is Ronald Nelson. I'm the engineering, robotics, advanced manufacturing teacher here at Clyde ISD, and I'm going to give you a tour and talk about what is going on in our program here in my classroom. We're going to start out in the hallway, my wall of fame. Um, this was last year's competition. We went to state. This was the first time we competed in VEX robotics in our district. We were ranked number one and number two. This is when we used to compete in best robotics and competed, and the awards we won. Also, we compete in UIO computer science. We got first place last year. These are some of the fame moments for my students in our program. First place in TCCA invention. Uh, this is some more TCA and best robotics when we won some of the competitions. There's a long story behind this three poses right here, and get an opportunity, I would explain it to you. This is my first robotics team here at Clyde, and we brought a trophy, the most robust, and the Founders Award in the first year. Here's the classroom. If you'll step right in, pardon my setup a little bit. I try to keep it organized, but in my classroom, I make a promise to my students, and I guarantee them that we don't do busy work. We do real world work, and we learn about real world things. So when they talk to an employer, they can talk about real terminology and understanding. Our trainers, like these trainers, we use real world items. For instance, these are T-slots. You see a lot of this in manufacturing, different sizes and all, but they do. This is VEX material. This is from a hard tower, a computer tower. This is a relay and a contactor. This is terminal connections where you would hook up the light switch like you have in home, an outlet like you have in home, a pegboard like electronics technicians uses to try out different circuits. Over here we have new electrical station. I have intermixing with pneumatic pistons. And talk about, matter of fact, this is the transformer, and it's powering, sending power to this switch. This switch is controlling the contactor, and the contactor is controlling the light. So when you turn it on and off, you can see it engage and disengage and turning on and off the light. We practice wiring basic circuits. We also practice basic pneumatic circuits. Matter of fact, I had the students hook this up to control 3 pistons and 3 stations. So just to practice, show them that different types of elements can be used as a circuit like you would in electricity. We also do drones and learn about the processes. Not only do we learn to get the certification in drones, we also practice building drones as well. And I have that across the room on the wall. If you can see over there where you see the electrical wave, the sine wave, hanging on the wall over there by Yoda. You also see refrigeration gauges. We also talk about different areas of manufacturing, from air conditioning to refrigeration to electrical to mechanical. We use real world soldering stations that you would find in a manufacturing plant. It has the hot air gun and a soldering iron and different types of tips. We use even competition components to teach the students about how to manipulate those devices to do different functions, how we're using interchangeable with these to control different types of motors that are actually not with VEX, that you can still control them. We learn to how to manipulate, modify, reverse engineer components in my class. We build with T-slots. We also build with straws and magnets and even dominoes. What I remember, we also talk about real world stuff. For instance, you see that behind that net over there, you see a breaker box panel. You also see a weed eater on these walls. We reverse engineer a lot of devices that are stuff that they use around their home to teach them what reverse engineering is and how to take something apart and put it back together. You notice where this field is the VEX-B5 field. This is this year's competition. This year's competition is about frisbee golf, and the robots are the ones playing the frisbee golf. Also, you'll see the two 3D printers over here, the MakerBot's sketches. We also do additive manufacturing processes in this classroom. Basically, just a 3D printer that you see in front of you. We also do CNC machines, which is a mini CNC machine, but the G code and the uh, software that you use with it is no different than the one you use with a big one. Matter of fact, that's some of the lessons I teach my students about how these smaller items, like the small robotic arm, is not much different than the big one, except the size and the material. Um, we also use Arduinos in this class. We have a motion sensor and a relay, and it controls this pneumatic piston to go up and down. This is my demo one that I use to show what we do in the classroom. Here's another mini CNC machine. We also take stuff that normally wouldn't be used and use it in types of robotics. Matter of fact, here's our wall of success on competitions. These are our trophies and the bots that we use in these competitions. Not all the bots are up there because VEX Robotics, we reuse the material every year. Again, more stations. I have these stations everywhere and we use them quite often. I believe hands-on is the best teacher. I try to put up student achievements on my wall to show other students when they come in. We use a signal generators in my class. Over here, you also see the oscilloscope with a signal generator. We also have power supplies that we use as well to generate voltage and current. The biggest focus that I concentrate on, I do concentrate on mechanical and other devices and making things, but electrical is the biggest area that I try to concentrate on with my students. But we all know, like in mechatronics, that mechanical and electrical actually work hand in hand. I was an electronics technician and fabricator at General Dynamics, and then it changed to Lockheed. I worked for them when I was young, right out of college from TSTI. Now it's TSTC. I also went to Cisco, got an associate's degree there in industrial mechanics and engineering. That is what I've done most of my career. My first career was in electronics for a military defense contractor. Um, I also worked at the prison system as an industrial mechanic and engineer as well, and I was this what they call a maintenance supervisor, and I was over the electrical, mechanical, and manufacturing process. The prison system, which they had three types of manufacturing systems there, and the HVAC system as well. I decided to retire from that arena, and when I was working at the prison, a education position came open, And a friend of mine from there suggested, hey, won't you pass on this information to these offenders to try to help better their life? And there was the beginning of my career at as an educator. I had to go back to school and get my certification, and I went further than that. I got a bachelor's in vocation, and I got a master's in education administration, um, and my principal certification. Um, for the prison system, I got promoted from educator to the vocational supervisor for West Texas region. And then I got promoted to basically as assistant principal position at one specific unit. And then, long story short, my mother had issues, and then I had to take a step down and went to a public school in my area so I could be home more often. Because the job that I had was like travel for 85 or 90% of the time, and it was all of Texas mostly. But I did have West Texas, which is the biggest region. That means El Paso all the way up to Dalhart. But um, I was part of a team that we covered all of the state of Texas. Um, but I appreciate your viewing my video, and I hope it wasn't too shaky. And y'all have a good evening.